Welcome to Get Safe Online Pacific Podcast Episode 2. This podcast highlights how to use email safely. As we continue to adjust to COVID-19 pandemic restrictions, we find ourselves using emails more and more as many of us now work from home. Joining us on this episode today is Andironga Paro Nonkas. Andironga is the Principal Consumer Affairs for NICTA Papua New Guinea and is our Get Safe Online local advocate for PNG. Welcome, Andironga. Thanks for being part of our second podcast today.
Thank you.
Okay, then let's get straight into it. Andironga, can you tell us, when using emails, whether it's work emails or personal emails, what are some of the basic things we should be aware of?
Thank you, Maxine. So some of the key things that we should be aware of is that first and foremost, scammers are always after personal information in order to defraud us. So we should always be aware of scammers and spammers. They not only spread annoying ads, they can also commit online crimes like fraud and identity theft and trick you into downloading viruses and also giving away your personal information. Phishing is another thing we should be aware of. It's when the cyber criminal sends an email that looks familiar or similar to an email that is sent to you by someone legitimate or genuine, including your banks or any government institution, any established business, departments or insurance companies. And so the goal behind this for cyber criminals is to, again, get your confidential information, also to allow you to download viruses that could compromise your online safety. Another thing we should be aware of is that we should always use a secure password, which shouldn't be shared with anyone. So the password, when we say secure, should be unique and long, something that is not easily guessable. We should be wary of unsolicited emails with suspicious links and attachments within them.
Okay, thank you, Andy. So just tell us, are scams, spam, and phishing emails, are they similar?
Yes, Maxine, quite similar in nature. Spam emails try to persuade you to click through to websites that contain content or try to sell you goods or services you would normally entertain. That is to, as much as possible, trick you or deceive you into clicking links. And again, those links would most likely enable the scammer to have access to your private and confidential information that will be used to defraud you. So that is one of the main things we should be aware of. So scam and phishing emails, again, lead you to malicious websites or to download, which would result in your personal information being compromised, your online safety being compromised. And those links will usually infect your devices with spyware, ransomware, or other viruses that can compromise your personal information, your confidential information, and any data that is confidential. So scams are commonly done by, apart from email, phone, and SMS, and they usually look and sound genuine.
So how can we as email users identify scams, spam, and phishing emails?
Okay, so again, we'll reiterate that the basis of scam, spam, and phishing emails is really to get your personal information, and by getting your personal information, that is how you can be defrauded and your online safety compromised, of course. So all these emails play a problem on one of your bank or other online accounts. You have maybe an unexpected lottery or a substantial amount of money, maybe from a competition that you have, they claim you have entered, but if you know you haven't entered any competition, then you should be wary of such emails. And again, the content of the email may contain a link that will require you to click on and download some content as a prerequisite to claiming your so-called prize or lottery. And this again is another way that your personal information, your confidential information gets compromised, and again, your online security is compromised. So some of the key things to look out for are the greetings. Usually scammers, those and spam and phishing emails, they're very bad with grammar. Always is typo errors in their wording. So that's quite common, and they may not address you directly, but they may use a generic address saying "Dear customer." And so because they send this as bulk emails out to any Tom, Dick, and Harry that they can. So the sender's email address also may be different from the trusted organization's website address as much as possible. They try to make it look as genuine as possible, but you will always realize if you look closely at the email address, the sender's address will usually come from a free online account, including Gmail and Hotmail. So those are some of the things we can look out for to identify whether we are being scammed or in a position to be scammed. So another thing is that scammers can also spoof the address to be the actual address. And again, they have poor grammar, a lot of misspelling. The email that they send will contain a link that leads you on to or tries to lead you on to another website, a website that will be designed in order to divulge your confidential information and compromise your online safety again. So it's better that when you're in such a situation that you take steps to try to identify the genuinity of the email source.
Okay. In your opinion, what are those steps? How can we avoid scammers, spammers, and phishing emails?
Okay, so we should never open links or attachments in emails, especially if they're from unknown sources. Take the time to really study the email that you have received and to think about whether it could be genuine. And you should not, as a first step, just not respond to anything that you think may be fake or from an unknown source. If it contains certain information that could lead you or give you a clue as to the sender of the email, if it appears that this particular email may be from a certain organization, including your bank or a certain agency, then take steps to contact separately that bank, that organization, in order to identify whether that organization or that bank has in fact sent you this particular email. And also, you should, usually some scammers will ask you to donate to so-called charities. Those are things you want to be mindful of. And again, check separately, have a separate means to check whether this is really something that's genuine. So those are the steps that we can take as a first line of defense against such scams. And then most spam and junk filters can be set to allow email to be received from trusted sources and block untrusted sources. So if in doubt, talk to someone who's IT savvy and who will be able to assist you with that. So when you're choosing a webmail account such as Gmail, Hotmail, or Yahoo, make sure you select the service that includes spam filtering and that remains switched on. And most internet security packages include spam blocking, and ensure that yours is up to date and has this feature switched on.
Okay. Andy, is there anything else you would like to add about using email safely?
Yes, Maxine. So we shouldn't enter our email addresses onto websites that we are unfamiliar with. This, of course, can attract unsolicited communication from anyone that you're not familiar with, and by doing so, you further make yourself vulnerable to being in a position where you compromise your confidential information, and your online safety. So as much as possible, keep your personal information secure and private, and do not share it with anyone who has no business knowing about it. And this will include your name, your email address, your bank account details. That is all considered personal information and shouldn't be shared openly. And that includes by just entering email address randomly on websites that request you to do so in order that you may receive a subscription updates weekly or monthly, in order that there may be an offer that is very attractive. Those are the things that we should be mindful of and question when we come across.
Mandiranga, thank you so much for being part of our September Get Safe Online Pacific podcast. It's been an honor having you join us on this episode, raising awareness on online safety here in the Pacific.
Thank you, Maxine.
For those of you listening in, be sure to check out our monthly safety tips on how you can protect yourself and your business online in this rapidly growing digital world. Next month, we will have another special guest joining us to talk about cyber criminals. In the meantime, to find more topics and information on keeping you and your business safe online, visit your country's website. This podcast has been funded by the UK Commonwealth Cybersecurity Programme.